Hey, how you doing? This is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. I'm here with Roland Mann. We're a little late because my computer crashed, and I had to reboot. My computer is dying a slow, torturous death. It might be time to actually buy a new computer. So there you go. How you doing, Roland? Haven't seen you in a while.
I am doing well. No, thank you for asking. How you been?
I'm good. I'm happy. I got a campaign going. You know, hit 4,000 so far. I'm so excited. Yeah.
Sweet. Nice. Congratulations on that.
Yeah. There you go. Those of you, Heroic Tales. It's a love letter to Blue Sky superheroics. It's a good guy you could root for. Bad guys that are just bad. You know, I'm trying to recapture that glorious Bronze Age Marvel feeling that I'm sure everybody sitting watching this understands what I'm talking about.
Yeah, absolutely.
And your comics have that look too.
Very much so. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. And speaking of which, you have a.
Yep. That's it right there. That's it.
Silverline Team Up 1 and 2 site that I've been singing the praises of. Luke Stone, the owner of the website, he's one of us. He's a comic book guy. He doesn't let his politics get in the way. No shadow banning. No, he has reasonable. I don't want to say demands, but he has reasonable. You just meet his standards.
Guidelines.
Yeah, guidelines. I couldn't think.
Yeah. I'm here to help you, man.
Yeah, thank you. Wipe my mouth. Wipe the drool off my beard. Yeah, he has. They're very clear.
Yeah,
and
they're very
and direct, and they make sense too.
Yeah,
nothing out of the blue. Nothing bizarre. Although, did you have to send him nudes? I thought that was weird, but whatever.
No, but that's because he doesn't live very far from me. So, but that does make me wonder why he wants me to come see him about 3 a.m. on a Friday night.
Yeah, bring beer. He said, yeah. Oh, so you live near Luke? That's cool.
Yeah, I live about 2 hours away from him. I think at least what I remember, he lives in the Jacksonville, Florida area.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah,
I live just south of Gainesville. I live down in Ocala, so.
I'm not. It's too hot and humid. Go to Florida.
It is.
I joke. You get off the airplane, somebody just covers you with a wet, hot blanket.
That's very true. Very true.
I lived in Albuquerque. It was hot and dry, and I loved it. I loved the weather.
I've heard nice things about it. Never been there. Yeah. Well, I shouldn't say that. I've been through there.
Yeah.
When I moved to California, left Mississippi and made the drive straight across. The bottom of the U.S. all the way over to California. So I went through there, but I didn't really.
66. You took.
No, it wasn't 66. It was
I-40, 44 or something. Like
20. I-20.
Oh, okay.
South of 40. Yeah.
Oh, 20. That's the one that goes to the bottom of Texas, right?
It was 40 then. It was 40. Yeah, because we contemplated that, but we said nah, that goes way too. We went through the panhandle of Texas, Oklahoma. So it was 40. It had to have been 40 because we went through Little Rock.
I-40 is more direct and it's more modern.
Yes.
Yeah. But I don't know why. I was driving with a friend and we did through the bottom of Texas.
Ooh, that's way down there.
Did you ever see the movie Race with the Devil with Ernest Borgnine? And I think it was Peter Fonda.
No.
I'm not. We drove through that movie. It seems like because we're in the middle of the desert. There's cactus. There's nothing. There's stars as far as the eye can see. It is beautiful. And my friend put. I don't know if you know the band Dead Can Dance. He's like, let's listen to some Dead Can Dance. I was like, yeah, sure. I don't want to hog the radio. He puts it
right.
And it's the scariest freaking music. And we're in the middle. Even he was like, let's turn the stations, just watching the gas go down. So finally we see a gas station, and I only got like enough gas to go like 35 miles or so, and I'm like, do we stop? It's closed.
Stop.
We gotta stop. Yeah. It's closed. It's closed. So we pull up right in front of the gas station, and it says it's not open till like 7 o'clock in the morning, and this is like 4 a.m. So
have for a nap.
I just take a nap, and I wake up. We woke up around 8 or so, and I'm like, oh my, and there's people just hustling and bustling because we didn't want to disturb you. There's always people sleep. I'm like, if there's always people sleeping, why don't you have 24 hours, but not New York anymore. It was, and it was funny because like as we pull over, my friend busting my balls. He's like, I think I see Ernest Borgnine over there because that was the reason Ernest Borgnine was the devil with the and then he stabbed the girl, and then Peter Fonda was in an RV, and all the lights were off, but he opened up the curtain, and they saw the light. So that was the rest of the movie, them chasing Peter Fonda and the motorcycles versus RV throughout the Texas desert.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh man,
looked that one
it's
up.
all funny, but at 3:30 in the morning in Texas when your friends listen. If anybody knows the band Dead Kid Dance, you know what I'm talking about. It's like creepy chanting. Oh my god! It was like, and then it took 2 days to drive through that.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, we were driving, and I mean it was fun. We this was college, so I'm like, I'm tired. You got to drive. He's like, nah, I'm tired too. Let's just pull over. So we're like, all right. So we see an exit. We make a right. We pull in off the road. We don't want to be bothered by cops or people driving by, so we pull over. Nice secluded. There's woods all over the place. This is a good spot. Take the blanket, put the seat back, and I wake up to the sun in my face, and I'm like, and he's waking up at the same time. The angle. We were parked on somebody's front lawn.
Oh no,
we didn't realize it, but there's a house right there. There's a pickup. It was so dark. If I had driven like I would have hit this guy's pickup truck. You know what I mean?
Oh man.
We look at each other. He goes, get the F out of here. So the wheels are spinning.
You're like, is it a banjo I hear playing?
I know. It was just, oh my, I can't believe it. It was because there was all trees. We just pulled over in a clearing out of the way from, didn't know. Oh my, it was so freaking dark. We were so tired. Didn't realize. Poor guy, we ruined his lawn.
Yeah.
Your computer, my computer making noises.
I think that's yours.
Oh, it's dying. It's dying. I can hear it moaning. So, enough about my nonsense.
That's all right. It's fun.
I wanted to tell you this. I've been catalog my comic.
Uh-oh. You froze on me. We are still live, so I'm assuming John is going to be back just as soon as he unfreezes. There he is.
Yeah. I just said my computer's dying, and I think there's a storm overhead. I think the weather.
Oh,
it's like the worst case scenario for streaming. But as I was saying, my computer died like a month or two ago, and I lost my days of comic books. I started to plug whole stuff missing, and one of the things I know that was missing. Vortex from the Elementals.
Oh yeah.
So I got that, and I'm like, Roland Mann wrote this.
I sure did.
Yeah. And I was like, wow, this guy was on my channel. I don't know about you, but the Elementals is a major influence on me. It's a major influence on my comic. It's a major influence on me. It's a major influence on my role playing game. I say this in all honesty. There would not have been a Watchmen or a Dark Knight Returns if the Elementals didn't do it first. The Elementals were the first realistic. I don't want to say grim and gritty because it was fantastical superhero stuff, but it was Bill Willingham making logical conclusions to superheroes in society and their powers. It was a very important. It's the most important comic that people haven't heard of.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I was a huge fan of the Elementals. So when I had the opportunity to do it, I was just like, oh man, this is fantastic. This was, I'm a huge fan of Spider-Man and the Avengers, right? That was kind of my jam growing up. But what is like, what do you mean I get to write the Elementals? This is one of the most important independent comic books in existence at the time. And so I was like, wow, I felt completely honored, a bit scared, because I'm like, oh, am I going to do it justice? I want to do it justice. And I had met Bill. I didn't know him real well. I had met him at some shows in Dallas. Incredibly nice guy. So, I just wanted to make sure that I had done it justice, and we had a blast doing it. So,
Thank
you, Marcus.
I went to Gary Con in Wisconsin, which is the Dungeons and Dragons convention in honor of Gary Gygax.
Right.
And I went there because Bill Willingham ran a V&V game. I talk about this role playing Villains and Vigilantes.
Right.
Bill Willingham started, he was doing ads for Dungeons and Dragons, and then he was doing full on modules, which are supplements for this game. He did Death Duel with the Destroyers and Island of Dr. Apocalypse, which the Destroyers became characters in the Elementals comics.
I used to play Superworld.
Oh, Superworld. That's another good one.
Yeah.
So I was a big fan of Bill Willingham literally before he was doing comics. So when I heard he was doing Elementals, I couldn't wait. I love his art. But anyway, he did. Yeah. He ran a Villains Vigilantes game, and a couple of my friends were like, "Yeah, we'll get you in." So I missed that one. So I'm like, I'm not missing it next year. I bought the tickets real super early, and then he didn't go. But it was still fun to go,
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
I was like, I could hang out with Bill Willingham. So now that you know him, get him on my channel, man. I love that guy.
So I'm really good friends with a guy who's really good friends with him, and I have asked him before if Bill would do stuff. He goes, he doesn't really like to do anything like that. Do you remember Bill actually had a YouTube show briefly about 2 years ago?
Oh, he did.
My friend. Yeah. He didn't do very. She's probably my neighbor then, Marcus. Tell her to come see me tomorrow. I'm going to Brick City Comic Con tomorrow, so tell her to come see me. Tell her I'll give her a comic book in your name.
There you go.
What was I saying? Oh yeah, so my friend Brad Tomty is the one who's his buddy. He hangs out with him a bunch, and he's the one who made the videos. He kind of said, "Come on, Bill, let's do this. I'll record it. I'll do all the editing. You just get on here and talk." And I think they did like 4 episodes, maybe 5, something like that. They didn't do very many, and it was a shame because it was. I enjoyed listening to Bill talk about his creative process. Oak Run, that's not too far from me. I know. I have to go right beside Oak Run on my way to Walmart.
Are you familiar with Bill Williams?
Bill, I know who he is. Okay. and we've spoken, but I don't know him real well. Because
Bill Williams he worked with Bill Willingham.
And
he had a comic called Heroic Tales in the 90s. So I reached out to him because that's the name of my comic.
Right.
And, and he came on my channel and everything. And, he was like, yeah, sure. Use the name. I don't care. That's fine. And he's my letterer. And he said the same thing. He's friends with Bill Willingham. And he goes, so I did the same thing. Get Bill Willingham on my channel. Push my card guest out of the way to get to Bill. But he's one of the guys I'd probably be like gaga over. He's he's a superstar with Fables and everything like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But Bill says he's very reclusive. He doesn't like he doesn't like it. I said, hey, Bill, he goes, listen, he barely answers the phone when I call.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And that's what Brad said. Brad tells me is like, hey, look, he only does it because I'm his pal and I hang out with him, right. And he kind of has to. So
the last he was on, I forget who he was on, but he was on YouTube after that whole Fables kerfluffle with DC.
Yeah.
Because he wanted to explain his side.
Yeah.
But I was like, he every once in a while he does something on Twitter, and I respond every time he tweets. Hey, come on my YouTube.
Yeah.
But
what was it? That was it when he made everything public domain or something like that.
Yeah. Checkmate. Yeah. like Bill said, everybody that when he started Fables to now, everybody in DC rotated out. There's probably, there's definitely not a janitor because they left New York. They're in, who knows where they are now.
Right.
They're all working at home. So there's none of the original people that wrote that contract with them.
Yeah.
So, so I agree with you, Bill. You got screwed over, and Bill got screwed over with the Elementals.
Yes, he did.
Comico Comics. Comico Comics or Comico. I never knew which way to pronounce it.
I've always said Comico. I don't know.
Comico. See, that was the third way.
Yeah.
I was such a gushing fanboy of that comic company. I was a full-on Marvel guy, and when Comico came out, I now you got me saying it. I tried to get until this day. I try to get every Comico comic that I don't have. And before I even got into DC, I got into Comico. Yeah, and then
and then because
I didn't get into DC till until Crisis on Infinite Earths. That was
Same
85.
here.
Yeah,
Same here. Yeah.
And I thought that was such an important company. They did such quality comics.
Yep.
And I hear rumors. I don't know what to believe. That's one of the things I would love to have Bill Willingham, but he doesn't like talking about the elementals.
I've got a great Bill Willingham story for you.
Oh, there you go.
So,
Bill, we're talking about you. Come on and straighten it.
So this was something that I heard him tell in person. So, this, of course, you got to remember all of this was done during the days of fax machines, no internet. Everything was done by phone calls and mail and everything like that. And before I get too far, I'm going to set it up. So Comico is the only company, and I've worked with several companies, but it's the only company that I've ever worked with that still owes me money today. Okay.
Good luck.
Oh yeah, I've written that off a long time ago.
Check is in the mail.
For Vortex, in fact. So they're the only company that owes me money, and that's not. I'm not saying that people pay me lots of money, but if somebody says, "Hey, we're going to pay you $20 for this script," well, you expect $20,
Right.
But anyway, so we heard Bill Willingham. We were talking to Bill Willingham about some of this, and he goes, "Yeah, they owed him money," and he had called them, and Andrew Rebb told him, who was the guy who was, that he said, "Yeah, the check is in the mail." Well, Bill Willingham waited. He goes, "Yeah, the check is in the mail." Bill Willingham waited. He goes, "Yeah, the check is in the mail." He just kept putting him off and kept putting him off. So Bill Willingham, I think he's located down in Oklahoma somewhere at the time, right? Maybe Texas, I don't remember. Gets in his car, drives to Chicago, goes into the office and says, "I need my check." And he goes, well, give us the next book. And he goes, "You're not getting anything from me until I get a check." Right. He goes, or till I get my money. And he starts to write him a check. And Bill Willingham says, no, you have to pay me cash. I don't trust your check, And I don't remember how much. If he said to us how much it was, I don't recall the amount. But it had to be at least $1,000, something like that.
Something worth driving.
Yes, right. And so Andrew Rebb says, "Well, I don't have that kind of cash." So Bill Willingham reaches down, grabs a fax machine, yanks it out of the wall, and says, "Okay, I'll take this then." And Andrew Rebb's like, No, you can't have that. We need the fax machine. He says, "Okay." He goes, "We'll get your checkbook, and we're going to walk to the bank. You're going to cash the check, and you're going to hand me cash." So Andrew Rebb and Bill Willingham are walking down the streets of Chicago towards the bank. Bill Willingham has a fax machine under his arm.
That is awesome.
So, yeah.
He was also a professional poker player for a while.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's what his comic Proposition Player is based on. That's what he wrote in the letters page that he played poker for a while. He was not like one of those guys that you see on CNN playing cards.
Right, yeah.
But there's an actual word for what he did, and it's escaping me. But he was actually paid by the casino to play poker with other people.
Really?
Almost like try to get keep playing.
Yeah.
If a guy's playing too good, you kind of just play to mess him up.
Yeah,
they're called proposition players. They're called proposition players. He goes, and you get to keep your winnings plus a small salary.
Really?
So like if you're ever in a casino, I'm not a gambler. To me it's just easier to give you money. It's easier, cheaper, and then we'll go to a proper store, get it. You know what I mean? But so I'll play poker with my friends, but I'm not going to Vegas to gamble with people. No. Whatever. But a proposition player will sit down at the table, talk to you, chit chat with you, maybe get you he sees you have one card or whatever, you're gonna get hit, so he'll take two cards even though it's the wrong thing to do to try to mess. You know what I mean? That's, yeah. And when I heard about that, and I never heard of it until I read that comic Proposition, I was like, how mean,
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? The house always wins, and they actually, it's so underhanded.
It really is, yeah. But you got to think about it. We think about casinos; they're there to make money. That's their job. They're not there to give you money.
It's that movie Casino by Martin Scorsese,
right?
When they're saying, this is Vegas. People come here to give us their kids' college money. People come here to give us their safe. And ever since then, what year that I was like, I was always kind of like, I don't want to gamble because I'm no good at it.
Yeah.
Now I'm like morally opposed to gambling.
Right.
Like if you come to my house and we're playing with chips,
right,
trash talking and eating hot dogs and you know what I mean, and pizza.
That's the one thing.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I'm not going to. And the same thing.
I played for peanuts before.
Right. Yeah.
You know, I literally actually peanuts.
I always got him one day I was in a strip club. You know, we're men here. I'm in a strip club.
Yeah.
And I'm looking around and I'm seeing all these creepy guys. And I'm like, is somebody looking at me like I'm a creepy? Like, I got like disgusted and I never went. And then I dated a woman who was a stripper through college. You know, we were in our 30s. And she said, and I'm all liberal. I'm like, yeah, it exploits women. And blah, blah, blah. And she goes, exploits women? She goes, where's the money going? It's out of your pocket into my pocket. Yeah. And she basically said the same thing. She goes, you come to the strip club to give us your mortgage money. You give us your savings money. You give us your kids' college funds money. Who's being exploited? She goes, and then we go in the back room and we laugh at you. You know, that was 25 years. It's not like I went this, but you know, I got this. Why are we talking about strip clubs?
I don't know. Got off on Bill Willingham gambling, I think.
Yeah. So let's talk about your campaign. You got two comics up on Fund My Comic.
Yep, absolutely. Let me
segue.
Let me actually show you this because this is it's a gorgeous cover.
Oh, that's the Fury. Is that the Golden Age? I was about to say open source, but that's not the right word.
Public domain.
Public domain character.
Yep. Public domain Miss Fury. It sure is.
Is she the first female superhero?
Not the first female superhero. She's the first female superhero created by a female.
Oh, okay. I knew there was a first in there somewhere.
Yeah, her creator is Tarp Mills, and Tarp Mills created her in 40 or 41, something like that.
Yeah, I got the hardcover collected of the first. They were good, and they were pretty risque.
Well, so do you remember by any chance the mini series that Malibu did in 1990 of Miss Fury?
I'm sure I have it because I think I got it.
I wrote that.
Oh, you wrote that?
I did.
Oh, yeah, it was wonderful. It was wonderful.
Yeah. Now she wasn't public domain then. Okay, she was the Malibu had the license to do it, and so so we got her, or I did the miniseries for her. So to my knowledge, that was the first time she had seen print since the 1940s. Okay. And no, of course, now she's public domain and she's appearing in several different other places. But I absolutely love this cover. This is
the Champion public domain or a new character?
No, Champion's a new character. He first showed up, and this is actually a shot of him from the first issue. That's a Champion there. He was in the he made his debut in Cat and Mouse that I wrote in the 90s.
Yeah, I got that.
Yeah, that's where he first showed up, and he's kind of floated around in the background of Cat and Mouse while I was writing that story and some other stories. And so I was really wanting the opportunity to write him, but I didn't feel he was visually, I'm like, is anybody going to buy a comic called The Champion? It's like, but I wanted to get back to her too. So I said, well, why don't I just put the two of them together? Because she's sexy, right?
Yeah.
People like sexy. So let's put her in there, and that way we'll have the two of them, and I can just kind of mesh their stories together.
Cool.
But we couldn't come up with a title, right? And our working title was horrible. Between the creators, we kept calling it Champ Fury, right? Because we couldn't come up with a title. And the guy who I got to design this logo right here for me, when he sent it to me like this. He sent it to me Silverline Team Up featuring Champion and Miss Fury, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I love that.
Yeah,
I'm a huge fan of the old Marvel Team Up.
That's a callback to the Bronze Age.
It is, and so and this is you already mentioned this. Our work here is very, and I don't know if you can see it. I've shared it with you.
You want me to add it to the stage?
Sure, yeah. So that's the non-full version. And I'll just kind of flip through this so folks can see. That's cover B. By Dean Zachary and Thomas Formonti.
Oh, that's Cat with the extra tail.
No, this is actually Demon here.
Demon, yeah.
Yeah, he appeared in Cat and Mouse as well.
Right.
So, but he is from Cat and Mouse.
Right.
And this is Champion. People say, well, where's Champion? I was like, well, this is his hand right here. And then this is another cover C. This is by Thomas Floramonti in his Kid Hero style. He has a Kid Hero style that he does a lot of his characters in. And so we got him to do a special cover for us. And then this is just what some of the artwork looks like. It's just gorgeous.
Yeah.
I think.
It's just gorgeous old school superhero comic book.
It is. That's what it is. When you were talking about that, I'm like, well, we're talking to the right people here because they're going to love this, because this is that my influences were certainly the 1970s and 1980s comics. I love the Avengers. I love Spider-Man, Captain America, all of those from back in that day.
Yeah, I'm trying. You know, I can't read it right.
Oh
so
no,
I'm trying to look at the storytelling. That's like one of my things.
Oh yeah. Pete's good.
Can I figure out what's going on? Because I feel that's like in a lot of modern comics and even indie comics, the storytelling is really bad.
I agree 100%.
But this, I could follow the story.
Let's see if I can.
That's one of the things when I get the original art from Renzo for my comic, I show my wife because she didn't read the script. I don't want her to read the script. I want her to look at the artwork. Can you figure out what's going on?
That's right.
Now she understands what I'm doing, but at first she's like, "Let me just read the script." No, just look at the art. But that's storytelling is it's like a professional old school thing that people, I think younger comic fans just don't grasp it.
Don't get it. Yeah, they don't understand.
Have you ever read Understanding Comics, Scott McCloud?
Oh yeah, it's a textbook in my classroom.
Right. Oh yeah. I was about to say that's like, you want to make a comic, you read sequential art by Will Eisner, you read Understanding Comics by Scott McCloud. You know. Yeah. Those are the instruction manuals for comics.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think when folks ask me, I say, look, it's just, if you like, good 70s Marvel comics, you're probably going to like this because that's what it is. It has the feel of that. I'm not trying to redo Marvel comics. Somebody said something to me like that once before. I'm like, no. I'm just trying to tell a good comic story that you're going to like. And if you're going to ask me what it harkens to, well, it harkens back to the stuff that I love, which was the comics from the 1970s, in which the superheroes had all kinds of issues. They had personal issues, but they had superhero fights. They're invested in one another. So
yeah. I always say that they had Marvel weaknesses as opposed to DC weaknesses.
Yes, that absolutely. That's it.
No.
Yeah. So anyway, that's it. We're just kind of flipping through. The book is done, in case you couldn't tell. We are finished with it. We just trying to raise the funds so that we can print it and ship it and hopefully make us a little bit of money so that we can jump on to the next issue.
Cool. Yeah. And you've been making comics since the 90s, which to me was a week ago, but everybody else it was
right. Yeah. Well, the first issue of Cat and Mouse actually came out in 1988.
Yeah.
So I got my start in 1988, which was been a minute. But yeah. So what I tell folks is that when they say, oh well, you keep saying that this character appeared to Cat and Mouse and this, you don't have to have read any of those. Okay. Yeah. Look, I get that Cat and Mouse was in 90, 91, 92. I understand that. Probably there's not very many people that have those books anymore. Or if they do, they're buried way in the back of a box and they don't know where they are. So you don't have to have read any of those to understand any of this stuff happening.
Well, that's the best way to do comics is each.
Yes.
That's what I'm doing with my comic. Each is going to be a standalone, complete story. And, not that I want anybody to miss it, but if you do miss it, you'll be able to understand the current issue.
Right.
That's the Jim Shooter, Stan Lee, tried and true method of comics. Every comic is somebody's first comic.
100%. Yeah, 100%. Mine's not a standalone. So it is going to be it's a 4-issue miniseries. So as you can see, we end on a bit of a cliffhanger here. That's the last page. And the first issue ended on if I can show the first issue here on my screen. The first issue ended on a bit of a cliffhanger with these guys here looking for champion. They couldn't They couldn't figure out where he was, right? So, but by the time issue 4 gets around here, the 4 will be the conclusion. It's just like telling an arc in an ongoing series.
Yeah, well, you are a proven creator. You have comics. You've been doing comics. You know, I mean, a guy like you having a cliffhanger, that's fine by me. You know, me, it's my first time, so I wanted to have a complete story. Yeah, and it's not 20 years in between. You know, I'm exaggerating, but it's not 3 or 4 years between issues. How, you know, when do you think issue 3 will be coming out?
You know, I'm hoping next year. Okay. Yeah, a lot of it just depends on Pete. Pete has got he's our penciler. He's got a new baby. His new baby has kind of disrupted his schedule a little bit, as you might know. So so the last time I talked to him, he said I haven't done much more than, and he's got the script for number 3.
Okay.
But he goes, I haven't done much more than layouts. So and so my thing is this, the way I pitch this, if we can raise some money that we can get a little bit of extra, that'll certainly help Pete get to moving on number 3.
Yeah. I forget what Fury now is it like comic books? You know, Batman existed in the 40s, but we just forget about that. Batman exists in the eternal present. Is Fury like that, or is she, you know, eternal? Is it a different person?
So it's a different person. Yeah. Okay. So what I've tried to do is I've tried to lay hints that the Miss Fury in the 1940s is her grandmother somehow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That gave her the abilities, if I remember correctly.
Well, so Miss Fury didn't have any abilities. If I'm remembering correctly, she just put on a costume and she was kind of naturally acrobatic.
Yeah, she was a Batman.
Yeah, very much like Batman. Yeah.
Yeah. So she's a public domain character. So I think it was Jimmy Palmiotti or somebody did, or Billy Tucci.
Tucci did something. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think they hinted that her powers came from a costume or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's the thing about open source. Everybody can do what they want.
Right. Absolutely.
Open source, public domain.
I knew what you meant.
Yeah. I keep saying the wrong thing. I'm bad with words tonight.
Yeah, it's all good. It's computer. Blame the computer.
Yeah, my computer.
Yeah. So yeah, I try to hint again. You don't have to be aware or be familiar of the original Miss Fury, but I do try to drop hints at her that she's not the first Miss Fury.
Did I just spoil something? Did I make you spoil something? If I did, I apologize.
No. I mean, yes and no. No, that's okay. The hints are there. The hints are in the book.
I do that. People ask me a question, then I spoil my comics. I'm terrible.
Yeah. No. It's like I said, the hints are there. I just haven't come right out and said it.
Okay. Who does your colors? I really like the colors.
That's Roberta Conroy. She is a former Malibu Comics colorist from. I knew her back in the day.
Malibu Comics was famous for its coloring.
Oh yeah. She was one of them. Yeah, she is just. I mean, I'll just scroll through again. She is awesome. One of the things I like, and she knows this, I tell her all the time. One of the things that I so much love about her colors, one of the biggest problems I have with a lot of modern comics today, and that goes Marvel, DC, Independence, is they over render it and they make it muddy, right? Yep. So that nothing pops out.
Yeah, go back to that page.
Yeah,
I wanted to talk about that because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 panels. And each panel has I know there's a term for it, but I call it a majority color. Each panel has a different majority color, and it keeps the panels separate so that my brain could register the panels. There's so many times that I see a page, it's set in a field, and it's blue sky green, blue, you know what I mean? And it becomes almost one panel in my brain, or it's hard. And then they do the unforgivable crime of just separating each panel with the black line. They don't have the color. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
And then, then they get fancy with the word balloons overlapping, and you're like, what is going on? It's like a carousel ride. I can't, because comic books, they have to have that Z pattern.
That's right. Yeah.
And this, even though that second panel is lower, I could follow along. You know, and her colors do a really good job. Excuse me. Yeah, she's using a lot of the same colors because it's you know, they're not running at super speeds. It's all set in the same back. But she you know, like that the guy rappelling down the lines, you see the sky in the clouds, and then back to the buildings. It's really, really good.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Oh no, I agree. She's something else. And of course, if you hear Tommy and Pete, they'll both tell you that she's the one that makes this book sing. And of course,
you could not underestimate the importance of colors in a comic.
Oh, I agree 100%. But of course, I think Pete's got some fantastic storytelling, and of course, Tommy's been inking for 30-something years, so he's fantastic. I mean, just look at his lines here that make her pop. You know.
This could have been on sale next to Micronauts and ROM. You know what I mean? Like good old comics that I just love.
Yeah, I agree.
Again, look at this. I liked how she breaks the colors. That second panel, there's why is there blue there? Because there's blue.
Right.
I think a rookie would have colored that pink because that pink seems to make sense in the grand scheme of things.
Right.
But you know, the first panel and every other panel, because my brain can't help but see this entire page in its entirety. So I know they're on a fire escape building, and you know, you close up on the hand, it's blue. You know, doesn't make sense, but it works. It's a comic book.
It is a comic book. It's a comic book, and the color is about telling mood and emotion and story,
right?
Not about a 100% accurate representation of what the color is. Yeah,
and also, you know, what color in comics have to do is to focus on what's important, and it has to make it so that that you can read the comic.
Yes.
Like I said, it would have been real simple to color this all pink, you know, and then next thing you know, you're like, well, what's going on? But the fact that you're closing up on the hand with a different color is jarring. That it tells your brain, this is important. I got to focus on this. Again, I'm not reading the words, but I'm figuring out what's going on because colors do give you a clue of this is what you're supposed to feel, guy. You know,
absolutely.
This is what you're supposed to focus on. Yeah, and I think a lot of the modern colors, like you said, oversaturated.
Yes, absolutely.
Maybe they want to show off too much. I agree.
So, John, I need more people to go back it. We're almost funded, and I you know, we've got almost 2 weeks, or we can
okay,
or 2 weeks, I think. Yeah. So we've got time. I don't doubt that we're going to be funded. That's not what I'm saying, but. This book, look, even if you look at this book and say, well, I don't know if the story's any good. Okay, I get it. You don't know the story is any good. I'm the writer, so I'm going to take myself out of that equation. This book looks good enough for you to go back.
Yes.
You know, anyone listening to this book looks so good for you to go back. And I'm telling you, Peter Clinton, the penciler, he is going to go places. This guy needs a little bit of mileage. Right. And I've told him the same thing. He needs a little bit of mileage. He needs a few more pages under his belt, work out some of the cobwebs. I don't mind him doing that, working with me, you know, and he's a very, very gifted penciler. And, you know, I'm glad he's working on a project with me. So,
right. And what's the price?
His price?
No. What's the price of the comic?
Oh, well, so we got different tiers, of course. Oh, and I navigated away. Let me get back here. Obviously the first one that's going to come up here is the foil. We want folks to get the foil, and that the foil is $15 in shipping. You can get one book, either cover B or C, right? For $7.
That's what I wanted. You $7, guys.
Yep.
My comic is 10. I tried to, you know, reduce the price as low as possible, you know, but you got it down to 7. That's incredible.
Yes. Everything in my gut tells me I should probably raise it a little bit, but again, what we're trying to do is we want eyeballs, you know, we want people to give it a shot. We want people to take a look at it. And so we're hoping that the slightly lower price is going to have somebody say, you know what, I'll give that a shot.
Yeah, $7, you know, because most crowdfunded comics are around $20.
Yes.
Plus shipping, you know, so you really, you're paying $35 for a copy. This is 7.
Yeah. Then we have a tier that is it says 2 issues, no foil. Well, that's our kind of our catch-up issue or catch-up tier. If you didn't get the first issue, you can go and select, do you want this cover or this cover? And then you can select issue number 1, and so that you get 1 and 2. Or if you're like, well, I already got 1 and 2, but I want both of these covers, well, then you can do that as well. So there are some options, and that's $12 for the 2 issues of comics. So that just makes it $6 a book.
Yeah.
So, and then we've got what's one of our popular rewards tends to be is the completist, and that's $25 where you can get the foil cover. This is the foil cover. This is not the foil. It's what I held up and showed you a minute ago, right? This here. Yeah. That's just I can't take a picture. It doesn't reproduce on the images. So that's the foil, and then there's B and C covers, and that's the completist, and that's for $25. You get all of that.
That's a great price.
It is, and we've got also for the their digital rewards if folks want to do digital, but we've also got a lot of original art available for the original art fans. That's kind of how we got up here. We got a couple of original art fans who support us, and so they went in and there's still a lot of matter of fact, I think the inks for this cover are still available. It's and let's check this out. It's $150 for the original art. For the original.
Yeah.
So, and you can get a lot of Pete's pages, his pencil pages for I think $50. So, steal of a deal for original art.
And I've got some of your Silverline. I got your last campaign. I'm a big freak on the way the comics feel. They feel like real comics. They're great printing. You know, I got to ask who prints them.
Kablam
prints them.
They sure do.
Because I'm still not 100% sure who's going to print my comic yet.
Yeah.
And
well,
your comics are in this pile. It's going to be teeter if I pull on it.
Yeah. So Kablam, this is just my proof copy of this. So I can't show you any insides because it's not my book. But yeah, so Kablam does just about everything for us. We are super, super happy with Kablam. So I'm going to give Kablam a little pitch for, I know there are a lot of other printers out there and I'm not trying to disparage any of them, right? Kablam's been around for, almost 20 years now. I know both of the owners, the co-owners. These guys make comics, right? They make comics themselves. So they're not just quote unquote printers, right? It's not just a couple guys that run a print shop. These guys are comic book creators themselves. So when they're printing the books out, they're like, you know what? If this was my comic, I wouldn't like this. I wouldn't want to see this happen. Right. And so their quality control is fantastic because they're comic creators also. And they watch it. So that's my sales pitch for Kablam. And no, they don't pay me to do that.
Well, you know, I love the way they look.
Me too.
They look how comics are supposed to look. They feel how comics are supposed to look. You and Alterna make great. I'm just talking about tactile,
right,
and olfactory, the way comics are supposed to look, feel, and smell. You know, a lot of the crowdfunded comics, like the material is great, but I'm talking about just the printing. It just doesn't look right to me. So I'm not 100% sure of who I'm going to go with.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, Comics Wellspring is great. Kablam is great. You know, they're both really good. And then somebody told me another one, Mix'em.
Yeah. So let me encourage you to do this. So one of the things that Kablam does that I don't think the others do, or at least they didn't when I was looking, they might do it now. You can upload your book, follow their specs, and you can order one copy.
Yes. You
can order one copy before you commit a large budget to printing books. You can order one copy so you can see what it's going to look like. Consider it your proof copy, right? You order the proof copy and then you look at it and you say, no, this is not what I want. Guess what? You've only printed one copy. You're not obligated to anything else.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I know every certain of my friends, they like Kablam. Certain of my friends like Mix 'em, whatever. And they all say that they're very friendly and they're all very helpful.
Yeah.
And they'll but I like what you said. I probably will just do a proof copy of all these guys. You know what I mean? Yep. You only get one chance to make your first comic.
You do.
And I want the bells and whistles.
Yeah. Yeah. And get them.
You should have another sale. I was just buying your comic.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yeah. I've been buying your comics since 1988. I got the first Cat and Mouse #1.
Sweet.
Yeah. And then I got the second Cat and Mouse #1.
Yep. Yeah. So I'm actually working on another one. We're getting pretty close to finishing that one. It's being colored by Roberta right now. Cool. And when we do that, I am hoping that I will have the first volume from the 90s ready to do as an omnibus. And I'm thinking that I haven't decided yet whether I'm going to make it available any other way other than the crowdfunders. Like if you want the omnibus, you got to get the crowdfunder. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking right now. Or I might do 2 covers with it. And oh shoot, I had mock-up covers earlier, but I put them away. And then I'll offer one at the crowdfunder and then maybe just one from me. Yeah, I haven't decided that yet, but I'm very close to finishing work on because part of the problem with the first volume is that I didn't have access to the original artwork anymore, right? I mean, this was 1990, 91, 92, and so I didn't have access to the original artwork. I had all the issues, of course, but I knew the top 3 Cat and Mouse art collectors. And so I just reached out to them and I said, hey, can you give me a high-res scan of the artwork that you have in your collection? And every one of them absolutely did it. I got scans, and I got scans of more than half of the art from the series. And for the others, I had to scan the issues. And so, I'm scanning, comic book pages. And so we've got to go in and kind of digitally remaster those a little bit. Cool. And that's kind of what we're working on now. And so I wanted to have it finished last year, but it's taken me longer than what I thought. So hopefully by the time the next Cat and Mouse comes around, I'll have it done.
It's funny because there's a comic book project that just scans comics, to almost like a Gutenberg press. What is that? All the books will be available.
Yeah,
online.
Yeah, the library.
Yeah, but I'm trying to remember. But they reached out to me because I have Millie the Model #1, and that's one of the issues that they're missing.
Really?
Yeah, and they said, "Would you?" So at first I thought it was a scam person, so I ignored it. You know what I mean? You don't. Am I getting scammed? What's going on? So the guy's like, "Listen, I'm not a scam. You can check me out." And I feel like a bad comic book person because it's been a year since I got that email, and I still have. I don't even know how to do it.
So it's your fault no one can read Millie the Model.
Well, I did a video of it. You can watch my video. Yeah, it's. I think that's my oldest comic, 1940.
Wow, that's impressive. That's very cool.
Yeah. So I want to ask you, since you worked with Malibu Press.
Sure.
I hear all the story. Like, did Marvel buy them and bury them? Like, is that what literally happened?
So. All right. So the truth of the matter is, it was not a malicious, we're going to buy Malibu to bury them kind of thing. Right. They bought Malibu simply to keep them away from DC. Right. That was it. That is not because of the coloring department, which is what you always hear. They bought them because that had nothing.
DC had a reputation of buying up other comic book companies.
Right. And so so DC was actually preparing to buy us. Right, they had been doing due diligence. They had their attorneys and accountants in the offices for about 6 months. They were going through our books, going through our process. They were doing their due diligence. Marvel got wind of it, and within 2 weeks, they purchased us out from under the rugs, of DC, just to keep DC from having us. Right, so that's the reason they bought us, not to buy it and kill us.
That's what I always heard.
Yeah, the reason they killed us is because they were losing money and they were going bankrupt. And so they got a new president in, right? And he said, well, what did the last president do? The last president bought Panini stickers, kill them. He bought Heroes World, kill them. He bought Malibu Comics, kill them. And then that way he could tell to all the stockholders, look at me, I am trimming the fat, right? So it wasn't malicious. I never felt it was. I mean, sometimes you get fired, you kind of feel it's personal, but I never really felt it was personal. I was literally just a line item. We need to get rid of this number right here, right? And the day that I lost my job, so did 200 other people.
Yeah, because the two rumors I heard was they bought it to kill him, and then they bought it to acquire their coloring process.
No, neither of which are true.
Okay.
And of course, the year that I lost my job, it was just a few months later that they declared bankruptcy, right? So they were already, and the truth is, Malibu was headed down that path as well. The Marvel purchased, infused, allowed Malibu another year and a half worth of life. So,
does Marvel still own Malibu?
Yes, they do. They still own it, every bit of it. Everything that Malibu owned, they own.
Yeah, so they could make a Prime movie.
They could.
Yeah,
they absolutely could. They could make Prime. They could make Hard Case. They could make Nightman, Sludge. Yeah, they could make any of those if they wanted to.
But your characters are yours then, right?
Correct. Yes. Yeah. Mine were always creator owned. I never. Yeah, they're mine.
Because I remember, trying to explain that Men in Black is a Marvel property.
Yes, it is, because Lowell sold his stuff.
Right.
Yeah, but now I wrote The Eliminator, which I co-created with Hank and Mike Zeck. I don't own that. That's Marvel owns that. I did get a severance. I sure did. But here's my severance story. Okay. So they came in. So the day they fired everybody, I came into work and there were armed guards at the door. Okay?
Oh, that's not a good sign.
Yeah, no. And we kind of had so what happened is they called, our president was Scott Rosenberg. They called him to New York. The day he was in the air, remember this is before cell phones, right? The day that he was in the air, they were firing people at Marvel. We kept getting all the phone calls. Hey man, did you hear this? All these people we were getting all these phone calls.
Oh,
and we're like, Scott doesn't know about this. Our president doesn't know about this because he's flying, right? So he has no clue any of this is happening, which we believe was intentional.
Let's have another martini. He's in a good mood.
Right. So
doesn't realize there's doom on the ground.
So all the editorial crew, we kind of felt that, okay, today was Marvel being fired. We're going to be fired tomorrow. And so we were kind of expecting something. We didn't know what, but we were kind of expecting something. And so, yeah, when I showed up the next morning, there were armed guards. Okay. So they began to call us into the office one at a time. And they called Hank in first, and they called me in. And when I got in there, they said, well, I guess you probably got an idea. We're going to have to let you go. We're paring back because we're losing money, blah, 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 blah. We're going to keep a skeleton staff. And I said, and I was a senior editor at that point in time. So I said, oh, so you're going to keep me for a few more months while everybody else. They said, well, no, we've decided to keep somebody else. You're going to go. I'm like, okay. And they had this paperwork, and they said, sign this and you'll get 6 weeks severance. And so they slid it over there, and I just kind of looked at it. It was like 8 pages long, right? So I folded it up, or I rolled it up, and I said, okay, I'll take this and let my lawyer read it, and then I'll get back with you. Now, I didn't have a lawyer, right? But I'm just like, I was going to find one, right? Or go read it myself. They said, no, you can't. This doesn't leave this office. If you don't sign this now, you don't get your severance. Now, look, I was a boy from Mississippi, moved all the way out to California to take a job as a comic book editor.
Yeah,
I needed that 6 week severance, right? And because I didn't know what I was going to do after that. I ultimately ended up moving back to Mississippi and going to school again. But and of course that's totally illegal. You can't do that.
Yeah.
But what was I going to do, right? I'm not going to tell them no and then not get my. So to this day, I have no idea what I signed. I have no idea I have no idea what they made me sign in that office in 1996 where they were firing me just so that I could get my severance pay.
Yeah, you hear some shady stories in the comic book world, like in order to cash your check, you got to sign away your characters. You know.
Yeah. So that's part of what.
One of these days, you're gonna get a guy at your door. It's time.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, and of course, I think part of it was not an NDA, but a non-compete, which of course that's just been struck down, thankfully. Well, hell, what's up, Creators Outlet?
Yes.
Sorry, you put it up on the screen. My soul, probably. Yeah. Yeah, probably so. Yeah, or my firstborn, which is thankfully she's an adult now living in Nashville. But yeah, it was one of those things, and I think that's kind of the part that made it feel a little bit personal to me, because it's like, look, what do you mean you're making me sign this thing? You're basically threatening me that I can't have 6 weeks severance, which is a month and a half for those keeping score. That was 3 paychecks for me, right? Yeah. And that was a big deal. I needed that. Heck, I needed that just to get back home, So yeah, I always kind of feel that that was a little underhanded for them. Yeah. And of course, later I found out I didn't know it was illegal then, but later I found out it was illegal. They couldn't do that. And apparently, if I had decided to contest it, it wouldn't hold up in court. But I still wouldn't have had my money if I'd have left.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah.
So you didn't get you said you went back. You became a teacher?
I did. I went back. I went back to we moved back to Mississippi because my wife was offered a job there, and she went back to get her. No, I'm sorry. I'm misremembered that. She got a job there that was a good job. I entered into the master's program. Well, we were only there back in Mississippi where we moved from. We were only there for maybe a year, and then I started Silverline back then, and then we moved to Alabama. I lost a lot. Of course, this was in the late 90s, so this was when the crash happened, right? And I lost about $20,000, and my wife said, "That's enough. You don't need to spend any more on comics." And so that's when I decided to go to school again, and I got a master's degree and started teaching at the university, which is what I do today.
Okay. What do you teach?
I teach creative writing.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I enjoy it quite a bit. Yeah, so I teach creative writing. That's my day job. It still doesn't pay me a lot of money, but it pays me enough that and affords me the time and support to continue to make comics.
Yeah, I'm a construction worker, so yeah. Without that, I wouldn't be able to make comics.
Yep. So
it ain't profitable.
No, it's not. So I have my frustrations frequently with teaching, but then I have to stop and remind myself, you know what? I have a job that I don't hate. I don't hate the job at all. A lot of people say, "Oh, you must love teaching." I'm like, well, no, not really. It's like I never started off to be a teacher, but
I hated teaching. I
found out when I went to part of what I learned when I was at Malibu and Marvel is that I ran the intern program. I very much enjoyed that because I was taking our interns and I was teaching them how the comic process worked, right? Yeah, they made photocopies and they did all that kind of stuff. That's what interns are supposed to do. But as part of the process, part of what I did was I kind of taught them how the process worked, how, what to look for in comic stories and comic art and things like that. And that's a lot of fun. I enjoyed doing that. And so when I ended up, needing something else to do, I'm like, well, I didn't hate being a teacher. So I don't hate it at all. It's just that it's, it's not my first love. But
if I taught college,
but it pays the bills.
If I taught college, I'd probably that's what I wanted. I wanted to be a college professor. I wanted to teach Roman and Greek history. That's what my degree was in.
That's my son.
I ended up in elementary school. A. Oh, kids, can we move on? It's A. All right, let's. Yeah. Can we go to B? I don't have all the year to talk about A, B, and C.
Well, I was first studying history. That's what I started off studying because I was going to teach American history. Because I can't believe how dumb so many Americans are about American history. And I talk to them all the time and I'm like, how do you not know this stuff?
Right.
And so that's what I wanted to do initially, but then I kind of changed my mind and said, well, I'd rather stick to writing, that kind of thing. And I teach a comic book writing class at the university where I'm at. So cool. That's fun. Yeah. I enjoy that a lot. So
yeah.
So don't quit your day job.
No, I'm this close to the retirement, So
there you go.
3 years.
Oh, I wish I was close to retirement. People ask me that all the time, and I'm like, as far as I know, I'm going to work till I'm dead.
Yeah, I don't know. I had a morbid joke. I'll leave it out.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, I hope to continue making comics for as long as I can because I enjoy it.
I got stretch for every 1,000 for the next couple of thousand. I'm going to unlock another card as a stretch goal, and then I joke that at 10,000. Well, not joke. If I do make it to 10,000, I'm bringing Renzo the artist to New York. We'll sign comics together.
Yeah.
And then a couple of guys like Mark Polton's like, I'm in New Jersey. I'll come and meet Renzo because he worked. And then I was like, 50,000, I'll shave the beard. I'm starting to make up ridiculous stretch goals. 100,000, I'm flying a whole bunch of people here. We're gonna make role play
party.
But $1 million stretch goal, I'm retiring. So there you go.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
announced here today.
Yeah, there you go. I may have to add that to your end. $1 million stretch goal. We'll all retire.
I'll retire and make comics. We'll make a whole bunch of them.
Yeah.
Only $1 million. It's totally happening.
Yeah, but yeah, so that's kind of that was kind of the whole thing. And again, what I was saying earlier, I think anyone listening to your show right now, I sure would like to have them go over and take a peek at what we're doing.
Take a look.
I think they'll like it.
I don't like to order people to who am I to order people?
Sure,
but look at it. I have your last crowdfunding campaign. I got them all. They're quality comics, and I remember after I was talking to you about Kablam also, because that last time we talked, I was thinking about starting up a campaign, and I was gathering information. Now I remember we did talk about Kablam before.
Yeah. And if I might add, this campaign is my 30th campaign.
Wow.
I have is it 30 or 29? I
either way, you know what you're doing.
Yeah. Well, and what I want to say about that, of course, all these books behind me, except for these two at the top. Oh, and that demon one. All of these are books that I crowdfunded and shipped. We are 100% shipping on time. And I, you know what, I feel I didn't start off saying things like that, but there have been so many crowdfunders that have been funded and people are still, I'm still waiting on some that I back.
Yeah.
You know, and so we're 100, we got out of 29 out of our past Kickstarters, we're 100% on time fulfillment. And so I can't promise you that you'll like the book. I mean, I hope you will, and I think you will. But what I can promise you is that you'll get your book when we say you're going to get your book. Yeah. So, and I also am pretty sure you're going to like it.
Well, the art looks great.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, art looks great. Like I said, it looks like comics are supposed to look.
Yeah.
And I think that's, I don't know, is it an old fogey thing? But like comics don't look like. Has anybody seen like? I haven't bought. Well, I take it back. I bought my first new Marvel comic. I bought that Get Fury. I mean, how can you say no to a Garth Ennis comic?
Right.
With the Punisher and Nick, the real Punisher and the real Nick Fury.
Right.
But anyway, that was excellent, by the way. So yeah, I'm not one of the. So I went back on that. But anyway, somebody's been posting some X-Men art, and I'm like, this has got to be a joke. It's
I've seen not the X-Men, but I've seen people post stuff before, and I'm like, this is really not what Marvel and DC are publishing today, is it? But it is.
Yeah, it is. To the point where I'm sure you just as much as me, maybe you even more than me. You wanted to write for Marvel when you were a kid. Like
I did.
I always
Absolutely.
wanted to write the Fantastic Four. I always wanted to write the Fantastic Four, and now, like if like. John, we need you. Come to Marvel. I'm like, I don't know. You're a bunch of clowns.
Yeah.
Like you guys damaged yourself so bad that the little kid who, in the Underoos who played with my Fantastic Four toys, I still have tubs of toys. I got a full run practically. I think I'm missing 2 issues of the Fantastic Four.
Wow, nice.
And I don't want to write it anymore. Like I used to I had stories loaded up, ready to go for when Jim Shooter calls me up. John, quick, grab your pencil, grab your coat.
Yeah. Well, I will tell you this: when folks read this issue, they will see the demon character that shows up in this issue, they will see if they are a classic Spider-Man fan, they will see the influence there. It's not Spider-Man, that's not what I'm saying, but you'll read it and you'll say, okay, I can see how the character and the personality of Spider-Man influenced this character. Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, when you read my comics, you're going to see, okay, as much as I was a Marvel guy, there's Superman. Issue number 2 is going to have some Kirby influences. Like that. It's obvious Kirby, but paradoxically, as much as I'm trying to make Blue Sky superhero story, there's a lot of Elementals influence in my comic.
Well,
I can't. Those comics sunk into me so much. First off, I don't want to get rid of the influence, but I couldn't get rid of them even if I wanted to.
Right. So let me ask you a question about your campaign, if you don't mind.
Sure.
I noticed that because I just went over and peeked at yours while we were talking here. I noticed that you 98 days to go. So how long was 120 days total?
Yeah, I meant to do 2 months and I hit the wrong button, so now it's longer than I wanted to do. If you want the
okay, I was going to ask you what is there a strategy behind that?
There's
I've
no
never
strategy.
seen one
I don't
so
know what I'm
long.
doing.
Okay.
No.
So it's just an accident.
Yeah, I wanted to do 2 months on Fund My Comic. But I think Luke has like a 3 months. If you do like a 3 months exclusive, you get a lower percentage.
Yeah.
So
I love those kind of things.
So I think that's what I'm doing. Is
okay.
Is that what my campaign is? 3 months?
Well, it's more than 60. It's more than 3 months because there's 98 days to go.
Right. Yeah. So
and you've already been doing it 21 days. So that's what I said. I think you're 120 days. That's more like 4 months, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's 4 months, but I think after the third month, I'm going to do because I have the Pat Broderick cover. Only way to get that is on Fund My Comic.
Nice.
Because I wanted to give something to Luke, as a means to get people to go. Yeah. And then I have a Michael T. Gilbert cover that I didn't reveal yet.
Nice.
That he, for those of you who don't know, he drew Mr. Monster and wrote Mr. Monster. Great guy. I love his cover. It's more humorous, more fun because that's what he's known for. And then I have a Mike Gustovich cover.
Yeah,
so
nice.
I have one cover for each of the
Justice Machine.
Yeah, Justice Machine. Yeah. And I'll tell you, Mike Gustovich is better and better and better. This is a guy that he's a little upset with the comic industry and that because I think he made it known that he wanted some work, and they didn't hire this guy. This guy could outdraw 90% of what's working in the professional comics field. And he's an old timer, so I don't think he's knows about like crowdfunding and stuff like that. Like when we talked, he was kind of interested in what I was doing, and he's doing work for RJ over at the Fourth Age.
Oh, nice.
He has a comic called The Valiant Heroes, and I think he's doing a lot of the inks, but he's also I think doing the pencils for the Rampaging Thor. Guy's at the top of his game. And he's a funny guy. And he created, I think, Justice Machine, which is political comics done right.
Yeah.
It wasn't knocking over the head. Obviously he had a subtle nod to an obvious nod to 1984, but it was such a good comic.
Yeah.
And like so many people, he got screwed out of the rights for that.
I didn't realize that. I hadn't heard that.
Yeah.
Oh,
every
man,
time I brought it up, you could just see he goes, "Yeah, my babies. They took my babies from me." And
man.
Yeah, I got sad just saying that. Just saying that right now. But to answer your question, it was supposed to be a 3-month campaign.
Okay.
I messed up on the so it's a little longer. The only bad thing is they say like at the beginning of the campaign, everybody rushes to buy the comic, and at the end, so I prolonged this agony of the middle, where like I'll get one sale a day, or
my goodness, yeah.
So I don't want to screw anything up with the exclusivity thing with Luke, but once I'll do Kickstarter, and then have an exclusive cover, and then I'm gonna total money raised is going to be for the stretch goals, not each campaign.
Yeah.
So when I go to Kickstarter, it's already going to have two cards revealed out of the 6. But I just realized, there's a 7th card that because there's another villain that, because there's a main story and a backup story. So the backup story villain will have his own card too.
Ah, cool. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool.
So there could be a 7th actual stretch goal.
Nice.
And Nick, I'm going to be sending Nick the backs. So the backs of the cards will have their villain's vigilante stats. If you know that role playing.
Cool.
Game.
Yeah.
Oh, we talked about that earlier. Yeah. I actually got to talk to Scott Bazaar, the owner, and he said, "Yeah, use it." Yeah, because I wanted to do it. People say he's flaky. You know, he just So I was emailing, and then I said, let me email one more time, because I was just going to make up numbers like, hey, his strength is this. That doesn't mean any game. It's not a game. You know what I mean? But
right.
So I just emailed him one more time. I was sitting in this chair. I emailed him. I went to do something. Bing, he replied. And he said, "Be my guest. Any publicity is good publicity." You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's funny because one of our stretch goals for one of the issues of Cat and Mouse was to release Super World character sheets.
Oh yeah,
for them. Yeah, I can't remember. Someone sent them to me, and I wish I could remember so I could give them credit. But someone sent them to me. They had done some in their game, and so we used those as stretch goals. So
that was your game, Super World.
We played. I did play. I played V&V a little bit, and we played Champions some. But we played Super World nonstop. That was our go-to game.
Super World. I think I have the rule book still upstairs.
Oh, dude, I still have. If you gave me 3 minutes, I could put my hands on it. All my character sheets. I've got them in notebooks, and still I got all that stuff.
Yeah, I went and bought all I stopped playing D&D at 2nd edition, and now it's up to the 5th edition, just to put things in perspective. But I still bought books because I like the art and I like to mine for ideas. So I bought Super World. I bought the Marvel superheroes game. I never got the DC superhero game, but I bought all of those role-playing games just to mine them for NPCs and superpower rules.
Right. Yeah.
But I've only played Villains of Vigilantes because that's the one I just like the most.
Well, if I'm not mistaken,
I take it back. I never played Super World. Maybe I would have liked it better. There was also Champions.
Yeah, I can't remember. I think it was Champion. It might have been V&V. One of them they produced the module and they had the dual stat sheets. So you could use the module, and then there was the stat sheet for V&V and the stat sheet for Super World.
Yes, they did that.
I had several of those.
Yeah, and that's what got me. Oh, there's another game. I gotta. Yeah. So, anything you want to say before we close this up?
No, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Always happy to talk to you. Always happy to talk about Malibu. I know I tell people a lot of times that was one of my favorite parts of my life. I had a great time out there. It was a great crew of people. And yeah, if whoever's listening to this, give me a chance. Go look at my crowdfunder.
Check it out.
Take a chance on me, and I hope that you won't be disappointed.
Yeah, I backed.
Thank you.
I'm easy though. I'm what the hobos say. I'm a soft touch.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it very much.
Yep. All right. Thanks, everybody. Good luck, and you're always welcome to come back. I enjoy talking with you.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much. I'll remember that.
Thanks a lot, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. This is a wife weekend. I don't think I'm going to be streaming much this week. Oh, Sunday at 10 a.m. I'm going to do for Sunday Comics, Conan the Barbarian #1.
Oh, sweet.
We'll be talking about that. All right. So see ya. Bye-bye.